Tenet came out in 2020. It's Christopher Nolan's latest movie. Some things in this movie travel forward through time, while other things travel backwards. Like a palindrome. I'm a huge fan of most of Christopher Nolan's movies, even though some of them don't manage to hold much water. How exactly do you get into somebody else's dream? Wait, the black hole is the fifth dimension?
Constructed this three-dimensional space inside their five-dimensional reality to allow you to understand it.
Who built it? Even though they're confusing, they managed to tell engaging stories that introduce some fascinating ideas. Tenet, though, so far is my least favorite of Nolan's movies. Let me get the good out of the way first. The acting across the board is excellent. Kenneth Branagh was so convincing as that Russian tyrant that I didn't even recognize him until about halfway through the movie.
How would you like to die?
Old.
You chose the wrong profession.
And everybody else seemed to fit in Nolan's world he created just fine. The effects. This movie continues Nolan's tradition of using more practical effects rather than relying on CGI. There's something very magical about being able to see the actors interact with the effects in a way that you just can't duplicate with CGI. And if there's nothing else that interests you in this movie, this reason alone is worth it to watch. As an audience, there's nothing more convincing than seeing the wreckage caused by actual things crashing and exploding. This movie is very familiar as a Nolan movie in terms of style and content. I consider this a good thing because of the fact that I really like Nolan's style. But if you don't already like what he's done in the past, this might be bad for you because you're going to find a lot of the same things. The characters are all in flashy suits and they're all involved in some sort of heist or conspiracy. And they use a lot of high-tech gadgets during their heists. I mean, a lot of the action sequences could basically be cut and paste into any other of his movies. This also isn't Nolan's first time dealing with time. Inception was about the dilation of time inside dreams. Interstellar dealt with time relative to gravity. And Tenet deals with time traveling forwards and backwards. Like a palindrome. And the time sequences here are stunning. There's one particular fight scene in a hallway. No, not that one. One person's moving forwards in time, the other in reverse. It's an amazing scene that we actually get to see twice. Each one offered a new perspective that made this scene just wow. Okay, now on to the bad. This was by far the most confusing Nolan movie ever, and not how you think. The time travel elements were confusing, but that was fine. I expected there would be some hand-holding to try to figure this part of the movie out. What I hated about this movie was how confusing the rest of the plot was. It was so unnecessary. I haven't felt so dumb during a movie. I felt like I was 7 years old trying to watch 007.
I'm Mr. Joseph, chauffeur from Government House. I've been sent to get you.
Well, that's fine, Mr. Jones. You can drop my luggage off at the hotel on the way. Now, hang on a minute, will you? I want to check my reservation.
I had such a hard time keeping up with what was going on, and when I started to put pieces together, the movie had already moved on to another plot. There was just too much going on at any given time. Even the action sequences, I was like, who's the bad guy? With such a confusing time travel-y premise, this could have benefited from a much simpler plot. I think what contributed to this movie being so confusing was the fact that none of the characters were fleshed out very well. I didn't know anyone. There were no clear personalities. Well, that's not 100% true. The Kenneth Branagh bad guy, he was good. But otherwise, nobody had a strong character that I can relate to. I mean, the main character didn't even have a name. He was just referred to as the protagonist. Not to mention, nobody in this movie was even funny. I don't remember a single time in this entire movie where I laughed or even smiled. These shallow characters didn't do much to pull me into the story, and I found myself mostly on the surface, not really invested in the plot. Look, this isn't Nolan's best movie. It's more confusing than it needs to be, and it doesn't offer a lot in terms of character development. Even still, this is a movie that's definitely worth watching for the visuals alone. It's stunning what he managed to pull off in terms of practical effects, as well as having scenes take place where things are moving forwards and backwards at the same time. Like a palindrome. Do you get it? Tenet is a palindrome. Wow. I'd say stream this one, or rent it. But don't buy it. I was looking forward to adding another Nolan movie to my collection, but this might not be the one. Thanks for watching, everyone, and until next time, let's not just watch movies. Let's talk about them, too.